Hi, Filter here. I'm drinking something called Rockstar Energy Drink. Accidentally, well, I won't get into any details of how I got this stuff, but um, ComicsGate. Where do we go from here? Um, at the end of the day, when I see Mark Wade, Karen Shake, and all these other people who are involved in how they say that they're defending women and people of color. And court, I'll say this again. I really despise that freaking term, people of color. That's one step from being colored people. Okay? I thought we were supposed to be beyond that, but now we're people of color. You know, the first time I heard that, people of color? Jesse Jackson. I shite you not. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, around that time. I heard him say that, using that term. And it just caught on. It took a while, but it just caught on, and now everybody's using it. And the fact that these people who are against ComicsGate keep using this term, and you could tell these people are. Yeah, this is the irony of this. Your Bob Chipmans and your Karen Shakes and your Mark Wade. They love to call people who are not in their ideological camp stupid, unlearned. They love to do that. But all they have to do is honestly open a page, look at something, and listen. That's all they have to do. But apparently they think that as soon as they listen, they're going to turn into Moonies or something like that. No offense against Moonies, but remember they had a reputation back in the day of being cult-like. If you don't know what a Moonie is, Google it. Or wiki it. Something like that. Sorry I had to do that, but this is some good stuff. Anyways, besides, I got some Jim Beam in here too. That works. Yeah. So I'm a little on the buzz side when I'm drinking this stuff. Okay, but like I said, the fact that the people, the journalists, and the like, are doing this, be it CBR to the Mary Sue and beyond, that all they have to do is honestly take a look. And I mean, if they're so much on defending marginalized people, women, trans, and people of color, well, how about one woman who got marginalized and shut out? What's it? Allison Tiemann, who's been banned from North American conventions. That woman's got about and was basically shafted into now paying, and I'll just say it this way. I won't go into details. You could look up the list of the details. She talks about it. Honey Badger Radio. I suggest you look at it. The fact that she's going to be shafted with a 110K bill for losing. Prosecution tried to bribe her, from what I understand. It was just all types of garbage. She just wanted a judgment. And the fact of the matter is that one wrong thought can get you kicked out of something. And now you hear about how they're trying to take away people's ability to use PayPal. Well, you cannot buy or sell without the mark of the beast. So you need to have that mark that tells you, hey, I'm with you. I think like you. I will do things for you. This entire ridiculous mindset. And that's what it is. We've grown tired of this. We want just decent comics. That's all. We don't want anything else. We just want decent comics. We don't want identity politics. We don't want your hatred of candidate A or whatever. I've said it before. I'll say it again. comics weren't always about social justice. In fact, I could go right now to the pile of trade paperbacks and books dating back to the 70s, and I can tell you, they weren't about social justice. However, they were ripped from the headline stories. That's all they were. Ripped from the headline stories. It's no different than watching Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Criminal Intent. It's the same thing. Ripped from the headlines. It wasn't about social justice. They weren't trying to convey a message. It was ripped from the headlines. Even that ridiculous Law and Order SUV, SVU episode about Gamergate. It was ripped from the headlines. And the fact that we've got writers for the Mary Sue CBR, they literally cannot just stop and say, let's find out really what Richard C. Myers is saying. Let's find out what Samedi is talking about at Alternate Comics. Let's find out. No. It's like a game of telephone. Mark Waid tells him something and they just says, yeah, well, he's right. This was an industry when I was a kid I dreamt of getting into. I loved comics. Every month, every couple of weeks, I would get that new comic, that new issue of Spider-Man, Superman, Fantastic Four. Let's see, what other ones did they had Oh yeah, there was Space 1999 at one point. I had Shazam. I wanted those comics. Then, later on you get turned on the X-Men and stuff like that, but hey, what are you going to do? But it was Superman, Action Comics, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, maybe the odd issue of the Hulk, and Thor. And you loved it. You got it. You were like, oh, you took it home. You opened it up. You saw that word. I think Stan Lee said it best. You see a word in there. Then you ran to the dictionary to find out what that word meant. Now you pick up a comic, overpriced. They're overpriced. The stories are inconsistent. The heroes seem more... I don't even know. Like some young adult author has been writing a story where they do more dialogue. I'm sorry. Let me put it this way. The difference between Marvel comics, modern comics today, and a chick track. A chick track, you know what you're getting. You know exactly what you're getting if you ever see it. I wish I had one to demonstrate it. Hold up. A chick track, if you don't know, they're those little pamphlets that you might find. They're like in a sort of comic form, about yay big. They're about, like this. And the art varies to cartoonish to very professional comic book style. But they all have an overriding message, selling the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's it. Selling you the gospel of Jesus Christ. When you see one, you know what you're going to get, and chances are, even if you open it up, you will be entertained, if not informed. You know what you're getting. You know exactly what you're getting. A comic book is supposed to be the entertainment that takes you away from the real world into something else. But you keep getting this stuff in modern comics where they want to shove in front of your face the real world. Or at least the writer's and now artist's perception of the real world. Of how they see the guy who's concerned about immigration. Oh, no, he's not somebody like me. Oh, no, he's got to be a guy with a southern drawl with a MAGA hat on. A white guy with a southern drawl with a MAGA hat. Oh, okay. We're not supposed... See, black folks aren't supposed to be concerned about, jobs being taken away, because government will provide for us all. That's basically their mindset. But like I said, that's what you get. That's what you get in comics. You get female characters who are only there because of female. And there's literally nothing about them that has any worth or value. And then when you say, hey, I really think this character really needs depth, you get screamed at for daring to say, hey, I think this character needs more depth. Now, these people love to use this, like I said, people of color. At this point, that's when you really wish George Carlin were alive today to basically say, we went from colored people to people of color. How the fuck did that happen? How did that happen? How did we go from people of color to colored people? I've said it, I've told people it kind of goes like this. I remember hearing it years back when Jesse Jackson used that term. Late 80s, early 90s, he used the term people of color. And I kind of stood there going, people of color? Is that colored people? Brushed it off. But then it gets used more. Now, this whole thing about against trans, I'm sorry, when somebody seems to be more trending towards, I'm not even going to get into that. I no matter how many times you look at it, you could look at countless tweets outside of maybe the odd troll. There are hundreds of tweets from people, hundreds of videos from people who are part of ComicsGate, yet you will not find this hatred towards trans people. There is a dislike of writers who happen to be trans, but it's not because that they're transgender. It is because that they're crappy writers with crappy attitudes that give out crappy tweets that treat the fans very crappy. That's all. Somehow or another, that gets translated to, you're against trans people. No. Right now, I'm going to bring this up. Somebody suggested, because I want you to watch Honey Badger Radio, and Allison Tiemann is describing pretty much what happened to her, how she lost her judgment when Calgary Expo kicked her out of the whole thing. Basically, she's banned from doing anything in North America, convention-wise. And, of course, she's got the judgment, because they ruled against her, even though it's the entire case should have been clear cut, because basically it wasn't her who breached the contract, it was Calgary Expo that breached their contract. But basically, there's some serious corruption up there in Canada. But I'll say this. She needs our help. She needs somebody to help move the needle for her. I really hope that she and Ethan Van Sciver get together and work through some of this stuff. Maybe have some dialogue. Maybe they can do something very, very, I guess, what is it? Productive, okay? One of the things also which I find that's fascinating, that these Anti ComicsGate types, these SJWs, these far left, not even far left, these regressives, and this is it. They don't want you in their club, so you start your own club. And what do they do when you start your own club? Well, they attack you for starting your own club. But you didn't want to be part of your club. Well, that's not good enough. You're supposed to think like us. And if you don't think like us, we're going to treat you like dirt. That's what happens. Now, I'm dancing. I have this dancing in my head. I'm thinking, we could have a convention of our own that doesn't have this SJW nonsense. But I know exactly what would happen. And this goes back to our lazy news media. They would say, alt-right Nazis form comic book convention. And they will deliberately not focus on people of color, and they will look at everybody there who's white. Guaranteed. Or, worse, a Richard Spencer would show up and try to co-opt the thing. And that's the last thing you need, because then that's like the death knell. But that's what would happen. You don't need somebody with tiki torches showing up and people who are neo-Nazis showing up. That way, the bottom line is, you'd have to say, any alt-right Racist Nazi stuff not allowed in this convention. Will not be allowed. We will not allow you to show up. You're not allowed, period. But again, the news media will still do it. It's sort of like that infamous picture of it shows the Tea Party when they were protesting like Obamacare, and there was not Obamacare, but they were defending Second Amendment rights, and they showed a guy with a AR-15. Oh, I don't know with some automatic weapon on his back, and basically they were saying there were all these white people there. They ate this black president. Turns out the guy with the gun, they had cropped it. Turned out to be a black dude standing there. I'm like, ain't this something? They purposely cropped it out, and that's what the media will do if there is an alternate to what we've got in comicsdom. We would like to meet up. All of us fans would like to meet up, buy, sell, trade comics. That's all we want to do. Well, that's just my rant for now. I just thought I'd put that out there. Rate this video if you like. Hit the notification bell. Yeah, you gotta rate it. And leave a comment below. Until then, I'm Filter, and I'm out.